Hi everybody, how you doing today? So recently I've been thinking about um, what do Sasquatch think of humans? Um, I'm sure they've been observing us for as long as they've been around in all of history, and it crossed my mind. What would they be thinking of humans? I think they look at us much like the indigenous people would look at the modern humans today, and just um, the tribes, the ancient tribes and Native Americans and stuff like that. The native peoples all over the world. Um, they don't understand really why we totally disconnect ourselves from the land, um, and just you know kind of ignore them in a way. It's kind of crazy. We don't learn from them at all. We pollute the water, pollute the air, pollute the earth that is supposed to help make us live better lives. Um, so, you know, I think they would probably be like, why would you do that? Why would you hurt yourself and the environment in the process? I'm sure they don't appreciate it very much either when we build roads over the places where they live and stuff like that. Um, but I was also thinking, it sounds a lot like what the indigenous go through. The Native Americans, when they have to deal with things like being pushed out of their lands, like the Trail of Tears, um, you know, and just the slaughter of the bison, the North American buffalo, in order to, kind of fight them off in a way and get rid of them as a way to kill off their food supply, which is just insane because you think about it. They're not out there anymore. This species doesn't exist in the wilderness. It's gone. They wiped out a whole species of animals to wipe out, just to take over people's land. And it's crazy because you think about what a majestic animal, beautiful buffalo, wild, amazing animal, revered by the Native Americans for centuries, just completely just abolished like that, and just destroyed, decimated, wiped out. It's really a shame because what an amazing food source that lean meat must have been. Much like cattle, but cow is just not. Cattle is it's very fatty, and it's not, it doesn't provide the same level of nutrient at all, nutrient density that a buffalo would have. And it's just it really, it's a heartbreaking shame to see what that type of animosity would do. It would decimate a whole species like that. I'm sure the Sasquatch think the same things. With the way we kind of get rid of all the nature, and building more and more cities, tearing down more and more trees, more and more wilderness is disappearing for more, and for more developments and stuff. And it's just a shame to see everything get paved over and all the green leaves disappear. I'm sure it's just as frightening for them, but it also highlights another thing, like a war being declared, kind of like a Cold War being declared on native peoples. Really, I mean, why else would they not want to admit that Gigantopithecus is a Bigfoot? And they're still out there. I think they were okay with admitting that the Hobbit was okay, it was real, the Australopithecine efflorensis, Homo efflorensis, but only because it was dead and there were none left. There were none living species on the earth, so it was okay to talk about that, because you didn't have to give them any land rights, right? The native, as if they were a native, indigenous species. Any other native peoples, then you have to give them land rights if they're real, right? And now all of a sudden you can't go logging there, and you can't, there's all these issues that you run into with indigenous peoples. The Sasquatch aren't getting that recognition. There is no, it's very convenient for them to be labeled a myth when it's not good for the people who are trying to keep control over the land. If they suddenly became discovered, which is going to happen inevitably anyway, and arguably has been, because now all of a sudden they deserve the same rights as other indigenous peoples. I mean, you can't deny the fact that they're indigenous. It's not doable. Once you discover them and study them in any slight form of studying them, you'll come to realize they're the indigenous creatures that have been here long before humans, and evolving to this stage. And for us to come and kind of kick them and boot them off their land is just as bad as the Trail of Tears was, if not worse, because they're just such a brilliant species that can offer so much to humanity, and we just kind of ignore them and even ridicule people who believe in them, which is kind of disgusting. I mean, they're the native peoples that we kicked off the land. They would know more about the land and the history of what's really here in North America and than anyone else. I mean, it's ridiculous to think that you're just going to show up from wherever, I don't even know, Spain and Portugal and Newfoundland and stuff like that, and think you're gonna just England, and just know more about the native peoples that have been there for thousands of years. I mean, that's ridiculous. I mean, nobody realizes that. We just ignore everything that they have to say and say, yeah, you guys believe in myths, so it's not a myth. It's just convenient for it to be a myth when there's still a living group of the species, a living population of the species on the planet. And now all of a sudden it's a big conspiracy thing going on, and it's just ridiculous. I mean, how are you going to hide the population of an entire group of species? It's insane. I mean, the reports are just incredibly overwhelming. If you think that this is like in any way a hoax or a fraud, I invite you, please go do some investigation for yourself. It's not hard to find, really solid evidence that's, in my honest opinion, completely scientific. I mean, 100% scientifically proven, without a fact, without a doubt. 100% legitimate. The Gigantopithecus skeletons that have been, the pictures that have been rendered have been based off of teeth and jaw bones, lower jaw bones and teeth. And they draw a whole skeleton of what they think it looks like. And it looks like a Bigfoot skeleton, exactly. Except the thing is, they say, oh, okay, it was probably a human though. Why would it be human? Where are we getting the rest of the, everything just comes into this strange way where it's just this really big human that somehow survived in the wilderness, and didn't die out there freezing to death. It just makes no sense. I mean, logic says that it had to be covered in fur, and just through all the deductive reasoning, there can be nothing else but a Sasquatch, a creature that's been, known, not only known about, but taught about, and traditions of cultures of Native Americans passing on information over and over and over and over and over and over again. I mean, for that to just be coincidental in all different places of the earth at the same time, you see, it's a really incredible way to cover something up that's not true, right? To have all that operation, all that cooperation going on, it's ridiculous to think. But for some reason, people just, it's it's whatever the status quo goes with, and it's a shame, because that's how entire populations just get wiped out, and it's it's a shame. They deserve better than that. They deserve some type of respect That's what I believe. That's what I firmly believe. So that's all I got. Have a good one.